Welcome back to the chase, guys. This is the office edition as always, and I'm about in the same spot I was last week for this video. You know, it has been a whirlwind of a week. You know, last week I mentioned I was coming off of filming Owen and we were able to put a great buck down. That show is going live on the main show in conjunction with this, so if you haven't had the chance, check that out. Doing a lot of work on the computer, and then November 6th and 7th I finally got out for a couple hunts. You know, I had been thinking about this spot that I found back in the summer, and I talked about in last week's show. It's this little fence gap pinch with a pond behind it where you can blow your wind back over the pond. And I kind of knew going into it that it's going to be one of those spots where you're going to have to sit and bide your time. It's not a spot that necessarily has a ton of deer going through it all the time, but the deer that do, I mean, Bullwinkle's done it. There's a mature 8-point up there. I had a new deer that's probably a 4-year-old. He's a 9 or a 10. I can't really tell in the pictures. It would have been a great deer for Abby. It's a spot where it's gonna pay off to spend some time because they're gonna funnel down through there. It just depends if they're in the area or not. You know, there's not a lot of timber and stuff connecting that area. There's a lot of CRP, and there's nothing that really pinches them down on the north end of the farm. So if they're cruising through there, I think they're gonna cruise through that spot, but it did not happen for our 2 hunts. You know, we had, the first day Zeb and I went out, and for you guys that don't know Zeb, we haven't had him on the office show much. He was filming Caleb at the start of the year, and now he's back over here in Eastern Iowa helping us out, getting all this work done. So obviously I've told you a couple times we're pretty busy over here, but he and I made that sit on the 6th and rattled in 2 small bucks early, saw 2 of our shooters way off in the CRP, have no footage of it. It's like 1,500 plus yards away, and we're filming with a 70-300 lens. So just a little bit out of the range. I tried to take the camera, I was like, let me see if I can find them, and I could in fact not find them. So one was with that 8-point that I am pretty interested in up there. I'd like to see him, and then another was that short tine 10. And I do think in the coming days, if we get an afternoon to hunt, I want to go up there with a decoy. And at this point, we're starting to, we've got a couple real days of seeking left, and then we're going to be into that peak rut where they're not going to be as receptive to decoys and calling. But we late rut should have some good hunts up there. I think as the all the crops come out, there's still some standing corn around. It's going to push those deer into those little pockets of timber a little bit better. The next day, Abby and I went out, and you know, we didn't have a great hunt. It was it was fun to be out there with her. I love hunting with Abby, but we got to the tree stand, and there was actually a coyote that started barking at us when I went up to climb, when I went up to hang the sticks and hang the stand. And from the time I was 20 yards away from the tree all the way to the time I had the stand hung, I mean, he's over there barking, less than 100 yards away, barking and howling, throwing a fit. And just after sunrise, we had a doe come in, and she's over there walking around on the hilltop, blowing and throwing fits. And you know, it just didn't set up for a recipe success for a good hunt. And after we left, we saw some deer down the draw. I had the cameras in the bag, and I don't have any footage of it, but one of them was actually the 10 that I had the encounter with. Lo and behold, Abby could only hunt in the morning. She had to go to work, and then I get a picture around 11 o'clock that day. Well, the timestamp's 11 o'clock. I don't know why I looked at the picture, but he pushed that doe into the farm, and he's kind of been all over the farm ever since. Got a ton of pictures of him, and she's pretty much got the green light to shoot whatever she wants this year. It's been since 2019 since she shot a deer with a bow, and that was her first deer. And I really want to see her get one, and I really want to prioritize that as well. So, you know, in my profession, I get to spend a lot of time with a lot of different people, and the harvest, I think a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but the harvest as a cameraman, you're there in the moment, you're actively hunting. It's like, even though I have a camera in my hands, like, I'm still getting to do what I love. I just get to be there, and I get to paint a picture of it and share that with others, and that's a huge thing for me. You know, it's I tell everybody this a lot of time. It's like videography is a passion of mine, and production has become a passion of mine just as much as hunting is. You know, a lot of people are going to call shenanigans when I say that, but it's the truth. So I love what I do, and I love that I get to do it every day and make a career out of it. With all that being said, I will be in a tree stand. I wish I had an awesome encounter to show you guys, but it's just neither of the properties I'm hunting necessarily have a large quantity of does on them. So you're hoping for the pass-through bucks. They're definitely not bedding there all the time. The property to the north of mature bucks, it's a little bit better, but I still don't think the deer density is that high. It seems, I would argue that I have more pictures of mature bucks than I do does on that farm throughout the year, or as far as doe numbers. I think there's probably 3 resident does and their fawns that live on that farm pretty regularly, and I actively get pictures of. And then the river property just seems like the deer density is really low. And last year in that area, it's similar to where Caleb, it's not far from where Caleb was hunting Vendetta and had Lucky and OG die from EHD. It just, the more people I talk to, the more it seems like that herd just got decimated over there. You know, there's some really good young deer, but there's just not the mature deer showing up that I want to target. So if one shows up, obviously we got cameras over there, we'll make a move and hunt there, and we may hunt there some. There's some good pinch points on there, good funnels, and we're gonna hunt when we can. We got a lot of work done. Team's having a ton of success, and I love it, you know. With all that being said, Gavin is out with Mike filming. They're hunting some deer, and hopefully they catch up with them soon. And he's gonna share a tree stand tip with you guys as far as filming hunts go. It's gonna have to do with the camera arm, what motions to use, how to set it up, and what to think about when you're the cameraman. So if you guys are filming your hunts, Gavin's a great resource for this. He films some of the best deer hunts. Vinny is a great reference to that. One of the best hunts, and the privilege that I even got to put that together. I mean, he laid it up on a tee and knocked her out of the park on that one. So nice job, dude, and hope you guys can pick up something from this tip from Gavin. We'll catch up with you next week.
Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the chase. Hope you guys had a great week. Mike and I are out on the 190 farm, the Mount Olympus farm, overlooking this big bottom. It's a beautiful setup. And while we were out here, I thought I'd do just a couple quick basic tips on, you know, filming. And you know, obviously there's a lot of differences whether you're self-filming versus actually filming somebody else. But when it comes to filming somebody else, and really any type of filming out of a tree, there's some basic things that definitely apply to all circumstances. So the biggest that I can't stress enough is positioning, whether that's the stands, whether that's the camera arm, all these different things. So, you know, in this situation, Mike is off the front side of the tree overlooking the bottom. I'm off the back side of the tree, and deer really can come from 360 degrees around us. I mean, we're totally surrounded by good cover and everything. But in this situation, with the stands being the way that they are, assuming that there's deer going to be cruising down there in the bottom, having the stands in line with this tree, you know, it allows both of us to hide pretty good. Obviously, there's a lot more going on when there is a cameraman with you up in the tree, but, you know, so when we position stands too, we oftentimes do them where the cameraman stand is slightly above, and that allows for just a little bit better vantage, a little bit better angle, and also allows you to get out of the way of the hunter. You know, don't impede shots or anything like that. When it comes to positioning the camera arm itself, height is very important. So I have the base right here. It's not, I don't really like it to be, you know, straight in line with me, obviously, because then you can't put your back up against the tree, comfortably at least. But it's not far off right here. It's just kind of angled out of the way. In this tree specifically, again, deer can come from all the way around. I'm easily able to film anything back here behind us, no problem. When it comes to out in front, we have this big branch. I have the tree trunk, obviously, and they're gonna be cruising back and forth this way. So I can easily film off to the right. There are some more branches and stuff, trees with, you know, oak trees with leaves that give more blind spots, but I can still film over here very well. And I can still film over here to the left very well. Generally speaking, we like to position the camera about waist height. That allows it to easily be passed back and forth, you know, on either side. Always try to go on the inside of you. And it also just makes it more comfortable. You don't want to be up, holding it up. You don't want to be reaching for it or anything like that. Waist height is a nice, comfortable height for your arms to easily rest right there. So I mentioned before, you always want to try to pass the camera arm in between you. But really, one of the bigger things is you don't want it to get wrapped around you. So say a deer's coming from right to left this way, I could film him, and, you know, especially when you're sitting down, this is where you oftentimes run into it. I could film him over here and go all the way around, but that's gonna get me wrapped up in, you know, who knows what the deer's gonna do. And that would put me in a real bad position to continue filming him. So always trying to keep the camera arm out here, it allows it to just be much smoother of a transition. Obviously, again, having the tree as the blind spot, I have to get around it. Smoothly transition over, pick them right back up, and you're rolling again. You know, one other thing that really goes to what I call kind of like camera arm management is most of our camera arms have these two main pieces right here in one joint. Obviously, you have the joint at the base. Some camera arms out there have 3 different arms with 2 joints, and those can work totally fine. Generally speaking, though, we run these, whether it's the 4th Arrow, Muddy, lots of different camera arms out there. With this, you know, you can move it in a variety of different ways, but you can pigeonhole yourself if you do things, if you move the arm in a certain way versus another. And so if I have on the right side of this tree, my right, if I have it where the joint right here is way out instead of on the inside, that creates a lot of difficulty as far as extending the arm around and being able to film all these different ways off to the right. If I have the joint more towards the inside, all of a sudden I can film all the way out here. I can extend the camera arm very easily and film again just that much more, and it's basically the opposite for the other side. So if I move this back and I'm filming off to the left, then I can again extend it way out and do all these things. So just as much as anything, how you move the camera arm as things transpire during the hunt matters. And so again, you don't want it to get wrapped up, you want it to be smooth. And so just like when you're a hunter anticipating a deer passing behind some brush or whatever it is, you want to anticipate as the cameraman what the deer's going to do and move the camera arm accordingly when you can, when he's behind a big tree or a brush pile, and you obviously don't want to spook him. But being aware of how those types of things work, what the best scenario is for the camera arm, you know, that's going to ultimately set you up for success. So hopefully this is somewhat helpful. Lots of different topics to go into here. Self-filming is a totally different thing when it comes to how you have everything positioned and all these different things. So hopefully we can cover that in another video. If there's anything, tips or anything that you guys want to hear about, feel free to let us know. But we're going to get back to hunting. Hopefully this helps, and have a great weekend.